Okay, at this time I'd like to ask Rabbi Jacobson to please share with us some words to prepare us for Shavuot, and also maybe share a little bit about your experience with Emet. I often say about Rabbi Jacobson that I don't believe there's another speaker who is able to both have so much knowledge and at the same time, so much knowledge and such a beautiful, eloquent way of expressing the information. Rabbi Jacobson, you are the only speaker who I can listen to on the elliptical machine, okay? And that says a lot. I'm telling you, it says a lot, because that means that...
Thank you, Rabbi Akiva, thank you.
And I suggest that everyone go to the yeshiva.net and listen to some beautiful classes from Rabbi Jacobson. I just hope you won't miss going to work the next day, because you'll be so engrossed in it. Thank you, Rabbi Jacobson, for caring so much about the Jewish people. And please take it away.
Thank you, thank you. You can hear me clearly? You guys can hear me, I hope, right? Okay. So let's begin. First of all, thank you so much to Emet. Thank you so much to my dearest friend, Rabbi Akiva Rottenberg, for your leadership, for your charisma, for your dedication, and for what you have created, you and your entire team of extraordinary leaders and teachers and mentors have done for the Jewish people, for the entire community of Queens, and for literally thousands and thousands and thousands of youths. It's amazing. I had the opportunity to lecture for the Emet organization many times. Last year we had an incredible Shabbaton together, and with quite a few lectures. And just recently on Zoom, we have had many lectures with Emet. And I know that Emet had close to 300 live lectures during this coronavirus, with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of participants, learning, growing, challenging each other, stimulating each other, invigorating, rejuvenating, as in JEW, and inspiring each other. So I do a shout out for Emet, a shout out for Rabbi Akiva, a shout out not only for the Rabbi Akiva of Ur, also for the Rabbi Akiva here, a shout out for the whole staff of Emet, and most importantly, a shout out for all of the students and all of the young couples and all of the constituents and all of the supporters and admirers and disciples and partners and friends of Emet. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your caring. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for the fact that you are standing on the front lines of the battle for Jewish continuity, and not only Jewish survival, but Jewish success. We don't want to survive. We want to thrive, and we want to prosper. And it's very easy, for people to sigh and kvetch and complain and yawn and tell us how they would have done a better job. Complainers, we have enough. But the staff of Emet have taken their boots on the ground, as we say, taken initiative, and sparked a revolution of education, of learning, of Torah, of commitment, of celebration of Jewish life in all of its facets, the intellectual, the emotional, the social, the spiritual. And that's incredible. And I am proud to be your friend. I am proud to be part of this special evening, and I am proud to be part of the great admiring family of Emet. Emet stands for truth. Emes means truth. There are some organizations that speak about Emet, and then there are some organizations that it's not only their name is Emet, and it's not only they speak about Emet, but they're also Emet. They are truthful. There's a great anecdote. The Ponevezher Rav, Rabbi Kahanman, his name was Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Kahanman. He was the rabbi of Ponevezh in Lithuania. And he was once invited to speak at a dinner. Another speaker. And finally, the Ponevezher Rav was called up to the podium. And he starts off his speech and he says something very powerful. He says, all the speakers till now, they spoke about Torah. But you know what they were thinking about? They were thinking about money. They spoke about Torah, but their intention was money. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak about money. But you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about Torah. I'll speak about money. But my intention is Torah. And I know tonight, Emmett is talking a lot about money. It's a fundraiser. At a fundraiser, you talk about money. You're collecting money. But you want to know what they're thinking about? They're thinking not about money. They're thinking about Torah. You need money to support Torah. That's the way God made the world. But what are they thinking of? They're talking about money. But what are they thinking about? They're thinking about Torah. Because sometimes it's the other way around. Talk about Torah, you're thinking about money. They're talking about money, but they're thinking about Torah. So continue to talk money, continue to think Torah, so that the two could come together. The money can come in, God willing, abundantly, so that the Torah can flow abundantly. Ufaratzta yamav akedma tzafayna v'negba, as God told Jacob, you should spread out to the west, and to the east, and to the south, and to the north. Or as the pasuk says in Mishlei, "Afutzu my noisecha chutza." Your well springs, Emet, should spread out far and wide and near and close, that every single Jew in your vicinity and your community, especially the young women and men, our beautiful youth, should be able to continue to be inspired, invigorated, and touched by the miracle of Torah, by the miracle of Judaism, by the depth, sophistication, and meaning of Yiddishkeit. Mazel tov for this evening. I send you my love and my blessings. May it be with tremendous hatzlacha. Rabbi Rattenberg asked me to speak on the topic of finding your individual song. I love the topic because really, to understand the Jewish people, we have to understand that there are two features that define our identity, what we call the klal and the prat, the tzibur and the yachid, the collective and the individual. It's defined very profoundly by the words of Hillel in the Ethics of the Fathers, chapter 1. Hillel said, Im ein ani li mili, ch'shani la'atzmi mo'ani. If I am not for myself, who will be here for me? But if I am only for myself, then what am I? And this statement of Hillel the elder really characterizes the two central features of Judaism. On one hand, we say, if I am not for myself, who will be here for me? I have to be here for me. But then we add, if I am only for myself, then what am I? I am so small. And that combination is extraordinarily important. There's a tremendous focus on the collective, but also a tremendous focus on the individual. And Judaism believes that one must not contradict the other. On the contrary, they must complement each other. My work as an individual ultimately enhances the whole community. And my being part of your community does not undermine my serving God and living life as an individual. On the contrary, it adds flavor and texture and depth to my life as an individual. It's like in a great marriage. Are you an individual or are you a collective? If you have a good marriage, the marriage doesn't undermine your uniqueness as an individual. On the contrary, a real relationship with somebody else enhances your individuality. All too often we see Judaism as one or the other, and really very delicate and powerful combination between the two. And tonight we want to focus on finding your individual song within Yiddishkeit. The opening of the Ten Commandments begins with the words, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher tzisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. God says, I am your God who took you out of Egypt. The commentators say, why in the singular, not in the plural? For example, at the end of Shema, Hashem says, Ani Hashem Elokechem. I am your God in the plural, the God of all of the Jewish people. But in the opening of the Ten Commandments, he says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am your individual God. In Hebrew, there's a difference between singular and plural in second person. Unlike in English, you say you and you. You could be one person, you could be a million people. But in Hebrew, there's a big difference when you say you as an individual, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, or when you speak to you as a collective. In the beginning of the Ten Commandments, God speaks to one individual. And the answer to this is very, very important. What God is saying is that Judaism is not just about Klal Yisrael. It's not just about the Jewish collective. That's part of it. It's also about you as an individual. You as a distinctive human being with your own life, your own mind, your unique DNA, your unique personality, genes, features, characteristics. You have your own texture and your own color. Every person's eyes, body, physique is unique, and every person's mind and soul is unique. No two minds are alike, no two faces are alike, and no two souls are alike, nor should they be alike. There's an old expression, we are all born originals, yet so many of us die as copies. Judaism is allergic to that notion. Don't be a copy of somebody else. You must be true to yourself. It's not easy. How do I know who I am? And what if I'm haunted by trauma? And what if I'm haunted by mental illness? And what if I'm haunted by personality disorder? And what if I'm haunted by abuse? And what if I'm haunted by fear, insecurity, anxiety? Any of this is familiar to you? Skeletons, demons, ghosts that don't allow me to find me. I don't know who I am. I'm not going to go through the whole Jackie Mason routine. You know his routine of him coming to a therapist because he's searching for me. He says, I came to a therapist and I'm searching for me. Who am I? And the therapist says, I'm going to help you find yourself. So he says, if I'm looking for myself, why am I coming to you? And this goes through this whole very funny routine. At the end, he says, the therapist turns to me and he says, now give me $200. He says, why should I give you $200 when I'm not even me? I'm somewhere else. Go to that guy and get from him $200. In fact, maybe I am you and you are me. So really you owe me $200 because you're me, because the real me is missing in action. So he says, you know what? Let's split it. Let's split it. I owe you 100, you owe me 100. We'll call it even and that's it. The point, of course, is, it's a funny way of saying, it's not always easy to find who I am, my own unique music, my own unique song. But it's extremely important. And here I'm going to share a beautiful, beautiful parable for Judaism that comes from one of the giants of the Chabad world. His name was Rabbi Hillel of Paritch. Rabbi Hillel of Paritch once told the following story. I love this story because it resonates. It resonates deeply with me, and I hope it will resonate deeply with you. I say it sometimes in shul before Ne'ilah on Yom Kippur. And the story goes as follows. There was a man who was very, very deep person. He was struggling heavily with life. He had profound sensitivity and profound perception. He was also brilliant in music. One day, he heard a melody, and it changed his life. The ballad was so deep, it was so powerful, it literally generated a sense of ecstasy and delight inside of him. It triggered his deepest heartstrings, sentiments. It evoked his profoundest passion for life. He melted away in the music, and for once in his life, he felt at peace. You know the feeling when you hear a song, you love it, you sing it again, and then a week later, you forget it. You try reminding yourself the song. You ask everybody around you to sing you the song, but they don't know it. And you cannot get yourself to remember the song. And so this fellow, who finally heard the song of his life, was desperate to recall the song which has just left his brain. He traveled the world. Wherever he went, he met people. Did you hear the song? Which song? Sing me a song. And they sang songs, but it was not that song. Some of them sang beautiful songs, Some of them sang exquisite songs. But sometimes you forgot the song, but you know that it's not the song. You can't remember which song it is, but you know that it's not that song. It's just not resonating in the same way. And so he went from city to city and from town to town. And he asked everybody to sing the song. After years of searching, he never heard the melody again. That's the story. And Reb Hillel of Parish said, it's the story of life. Every single soul has once heard a melody that transformed it. Each of our souls has within it the melody that ultimately connects us to heaven. Each one of us has the song that represents our deepest harmony, oneness, tranquility, serenity. Each one of us is a musician in God's cosmic symphony. And we each have our unique melody that is very, very deep and very, very powerful. It's a melody that is mine, or a melody that is yours. It's the melody which brings you face to face with your own truth, with your own purity, with your own joy, vigor, love, confidence, hope, invincibility. Every soul is a fragment of God. Every soul basked and bathed in the oneness of reality. Every soul is spiritually infinite. Every soul is a fragment of the divine and a manifestation of God's light in this world. Every soul, Reb Nachman of Breslov says, has a niggin, has a melody. And then our souls come down to this world. We're born, we grow up, and our minds are searching for the melody. We travel everywhere before Corona. We try everything. We're looking for that symphony that brought us so much peace and serenity. Some of us go to the Far East to search for the melody. We buy stuff, we go shopping, we make money, we travel the world, we get addicted to all types of toys or substances, we surf the web, we seek all types of entertainment, we seek all types of distractions, we search for information, fun, excitement, serenity, drugs, medications, therapy, exercises, diets, enlightenment, stupid things, smart things. Some of us end up in very interesting places. The more sensitive we are, the more desperate we are to remember and find our forgotten song. And we have such a deep void, and we numb it with all type of unhealthy substitutes to distract us from our pain. But deep down, with all the people we meet and all the distractions we introduce into our life, we know it's not the song. A song it may be. Depends on what you're into. It may even be a nice song. It may be an interesting song. It may be a horrible song, but it's not the song. It's not the song of your soul. It's not the song of my soul. It's not the song of my inner child. It's not the song of my core. It's not the song of my deepest self. And then, once in a while, maybe once a lifetime, once a year, once in 10 years, you get to hear the song. God allows you to hear the song. It can happen on Yom Kippur. It can happen on your couch on a Wednesday afternoon. It can happen on a Monday night in your home. It can happen during prayer. It can happen when you learn Torah. It can happen when you do a mitzvah. It can happen at certain moment of enlightenment in your life. But suddenly, your soul can hear the melody. your neshama can hear the music once again. And when your neshama hears the music, you know that this music is yours and yours alone. The first Ger Rebbe, the Chidushei Harim, by the way, his last name was also Rottenberg. Reb Itcha Meir Rottenberg. He was the first Ger Rebbe. He passed away in the 1860s. And he has a beautiful, beautiful teaching. I love sharing it. He says, the verse says, King Solomon says, Shma beni musar avicha v'al titosh teiras imecha. My son, listen to the rebuke of your father and don't abandon the teachings of your mother. There's a beautiful song, Shma beni musar avicha v'al titosh teiras imecha. Listen, my son, to the rebuke of your father, and don't abandon the Torah of your mother. And the Chidushei Harim, the first Ger Rebbe, asked a great question. What's this distinction the verse makes? Listen to the rebuke of your father, but don't abandon the teachings of your mother. Number one, by your father it's called Musar, rebuke. By your mother it's called Torah, teachings, lessons. Number two, for your father it says listen to his teachings, to his rebuke, and don't abandon the teachings of your mother. Why doesn't it say, and listen to the teachings of your mother, just like you should listen to the teachings of your father? Good questions. So the first Ger Rebbe answered, open your hearts. And he said, and I want you to hear the words. He said, there are two forms of Judaism that are communicated to people. There's the Judaism that we teach, the Mussar that we teach, do this, don't do this is right, this is wrong, this is good for you, this is bad for you, this is healthy, this is unhealthy, this is constructive, this is destructive, this is going to bring reward, this is going to bring punishment. All good, the Mussar of your father. But there's something much deeper. And it's not the Mussar of your father, it's not the rebuke of your father. It's the lessons of your mother. When do you get the lessons of your mother? The Ger Rebbe says, open your hearts. The Gemara says in Nida, page 30, when an infant, a fetus, an embryo is in the womb of its mother, they teach the fetus the whole Torah. The Gemara says in Tractate Nida, there's no days as beautiful as the days when you're in the womb of your mommy, because there's a candle, a flame burning on top of your head, so to speak. You eat what your mommy eats, you drink what your mommy drinks, you live off mommy's oxygen and nutrients, and they teach the child the whole Torah. And then when the child leaves the womb, they give the child a knip, and he forgets the whole Torah. Asks the Balatanya, if you're forgetting the whole Torah, why do you have to learn it? And if you're learning it, why do they make you forget it? Like, what is this, a joke? If you want him to know the whole Torah, don't make him forget it. And if you want him to forget it, so don't teach it to him. I teach it to you, and then you forget it. The idea is as follows. Life is not a game of free lunch. You really have to work on life. You have to find yourself. You have to find your song. You have to get rid of your toxicity. You got to confront your demons. You got to subdue your Yetzer Hara, your evil inclination. Life is work. We don't believe in free lunch. In Nama de Chisufa, it's called bread of shame. In the words of the Talmud, bread of shame. The Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, always talks about this concept. We don't believe in bread of shame. We believe in earned meals. Earned meals means you got to work for your life. But how do you know when something is part of your song? How do you know when something is real Torah? When I'm sitting at a class, or at a lecture, at a seminar, at a workshop, or in a conversation, how do I know that what you're teaching me is real Torah? How do I know? People have a lot of biases. People have a lot of agendas. People got a lot of stuff inside of them, conscious and even more unconscious. How do I know to differentiate between toxic information and healthy information? How do I know how to differentiate between information that coming from humans filled with bias and insecurities and information in which the person is just a conduit for divine revelation? How do you know the difference? The answer is Shma b'ni Musar avicha. Listen to the rebuke of your father, but then comes the main statement. And don't let go of the Torah of your mother. You know what the Torah of your mother is? The Torah of your mother is the Torah that you learned in your mother's womb. That Torah, that's my song. That's the song I heard in my mother's womb. Throughout my life, when I hear real Torah, it's going to resonate. You know why? Because I know it already. How do you know something is real Torah? If when you hear it, you know that you didn't hear anything new. You heard something that you always knew your whole life. That's Torah. Torah is something that when you hear it, deep down you know that it's not new. You always knew this. Of course, the information may be new. The facts may be new. The formulation may be new. The ideas may be novel, revolutionary, engaging, interesting, fascinating, transformative. It may be new in so many ways. But in one very deep way, it's not new at all. It resonates. It's like, of course. When somebody is articulating Torah, the people who are listening can say, I always knew this. It was there in my bones. It was in my DNA. I was carrying it in my body. I was carrying it in my amino acids and my genetic coding. It was there. It's Torah Simecha. It's the teachings of my mother. It's from my mother's womb. I may have forgotten the Torah, but when I hear the melody, it's like, aha, it's there. And this is never Musar, it's Torah. Musar is rebuke. It's something you don't know that I'm teaching you. I'm rebuking you. Don't do this, do this. Torah are the lessons that are ingrained in you. What you learned by your mother in your mother's womb, nobody has to teach you again. It's part of you. They just have to show it to you. And when you hear this song, you're like, I got it. I just know it's true. And that's the big difference between Musar and Torah. Musar is something I have to teach you. And Torah is just opening you up to what you already know. Opening you up to your innermost truth. That's the Judaism of Torah Simecha. He doesn't say listen to it. He says just don't let go of it. You know why you shouldn't let go of it? You have it already. It's who you are. It's part of you. It's your essence. It's your nature. It's innate. It's intrinsic. Torah is part of every single Jew. When you speak real Torah, you're not teaching a Jew anything he doesn't know. His or her soul is formed in Torah. It was taught Torah for the first 9 months of their existence. Torah is the melody of their neshama. You're not giving them a new melody. You're teaching them the melody that they know so, so well. They may have forgotten it. They may have relegated it to their subconscious. They may not be in touch with it. They may not be living it, breathing it, experiencing it. But it's so much part of them. So much part of them. We never give anybody new Torah. We just give them back what was always theirs. That's why I love Emet so much. That's their approach. Their approach is not, oh, we're going to teach all these students, these spoiled American students, a new religion. No, we're going to give them what belongs to them. It belongs to every Jew. The verse says, Torah tzivilanu Moshe merasha kilas Yaakov. God commanded us, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses commanded us the Torah. It's an inheritance to the community of Jacob. What's Moirasha? Moirasha, what does an inheritance mean? There's a fascinating law on the laws of inheritance. If a father is worth $300 million and he passes away, and his heir is an infant who's 1 day old, legally, that 1 day old infant now is the full owner of the $300 million, no questions asked. It's not like if he's 30 years old or 50 years old, he inherits the money. If he's 1 day old or 1 week old, he's not an inheritor. No, that's not the case. A Yerush, an inheritor, an heir, according to Jewish law, even if he's 1 day old or she's 1 day old, they inherit the entire estate of the father. There's a big difference, though. When somebody's 1 day old, they may not know what they inherited. They may not appreciate it. They may not be conscious of it. They may not understand what it means until they reach an older age. But it doesn't change the fact that they are the full, complete owners of this possession. That's what the Bible says, the Tanakh, the Torah says about Torah. Torah is my Rasha Kehilas Yaakov. Torah is an inheritance of every single Jew. What does it mean it's an inheritance of every single Jew? No difference if you're 1 day old, no difference if you're 10 day old, no difference if you're 20 years, no difference if you're the greatest scholar in the world or you're the most ignorant person in the world. There may be a difference in how much you appreciate the inheritance and how much you're cognizant of the magnitude and the value of the inheritance. But in the fact that you own the entire inheritance, there's absolutely no distinction. Every single Jew was given the whole Torah, and that Torah belongs to him or to her. We have the privilege, those of us who are privileged to be raised with Torah, we have the privilege to help those who are the ears of Torah to understand what they inherited. But we are not the ones who give it to them. God has given it to every Jew. We are the ones who are privileged to open their hearts to that song which is already vibrating in the soul of every Jew from before his or her birth. They don't have to hear it. For altitash, they just don't have to let go of it. That's how you know it's real Torah. It resonates. It resonates. Doesn't mean it doesn't challenge you. Real Torah challenges you, but it resonates. And you know the difference. Sometimes information challenges you, but it doesn't resonate. Sometimes information challenges you. It takes you out of your comfort zone. It wants to transform you. It wants you to become a new person. But it resonates. Resonates means I know that the person I'm striving to become is not a person who's going to substitute my real me. It's the real me actualizing itself. It's me becoming who I'm supposed to become, who I am destined to become. So in life, we're all searching for that melody. We're all searching for that truth. And Torah is the melody of the Jew. Every Jew must find in Torah their individual melody. And no two Jews find the same melody. Every soul has its own melody. The Arizal says that every verse in Chumash has 600,000 possible ways of interpretation because there are 600,000 souls. And every soul has its way of interpreting it. This means every soul has its niggin, its melody. Every soul has its contribution, its light. The music you bring to the world, nobody can bring to the world. The music I bring to the world, nobody can bring to the world. It's your own music. And you have to be able to appreciate this music. Sometimes we think that people are afraid of their darkness. People are afraid of their toxicity. And that's, I assume, true. We are afraid of our negative emotions. We're afraid of uncomfortable emotions. We're afraid of unresolved tension. And you don't have to be afraid of it. If people would not be afraid of any emotion inside of them, the world would be a better place. You're bigger than every emotion. You can handle it. But there is even a deeper fear in people. People are also afraid of their light. People are afraid of shining. People are afraid of singing their melody. People often ask the question, who am I to be successful? Who am I to be happy? Who am I to be powerful? Who am I to be the most powerful person in the world? Who am I to be a leader? Who am I to change the planet? Who am I to have an amazing marriage? Who am I to have an incredible relationship with my children? Who am I to be a happy person? Who am I to be gorgeous, successful, wealthy? Who am I? I'm a nobody. I'm a schmat. I'm a helpless loser. And that's a great mistake that we make. Who are you? You are God's light in this world. You're a manifestation of Hashem in this world. You are a ray of infinity. You are invincible, just like the one who sent you into this world. You are a messenger of the divine. You are an ambassador. You are a divine ambassador of love, light, hope, healing, redemption. What do you mean, who are you? Who are you? You're a powerhouse. Not because you're a pompous, arrogant moron, but because you're a conduit for the divine creator who has sent your soul down to this world. And the day you're born, is the day when God said, the world is an incomplete place without you. Birth is God saying, you matter. There is something that you need to bring to the universe that nobody before you and nobody after you will ever be able to bring to the world. This is your unique song that only your neshama gets. And it's your soul that can inspire the world with this music. Shavuos is the yahrzeit of David HaMelech. David HaMelech was the great composer of the Jewish people. The Talmud says in Brachas, page 3, there was a harp that was suspended. It was hanging on top of David's bed. And midnight, the northern wind would come and it would send a breeze that would affect the chords of David's harp, which would start playing music. He would get out of bed and he would learn Torah and connect with his own melodies, which he composed and transcribed in that immortal book of Tehillim, of Psalms. Someone else's yahrzeit is on Shavuos. The holy Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Saul Baal Shem Tov, was one of the greatest teachers in the history of Judaism, the founder of the Hasidic movement, and one of his profoundest and most beautiful teachings was that every single Jewish soul is a divine song. The Baal Shem Tov once said, when somebody passes away, there are three responses: silence, tears, and music. We cry because we grieve. We're silent because there are no words to capture pain. But we also sing because every soul is a melody. Every person's life is essentially a song. A shira l'Hashem b'chayoi. And just like a song, it has exhilarating moments, and it has moments that are stressful. We go up and we go down. The vicissitudes of life are very similar to a powerful symphony. A shira l'Hashem b'chayoi. My whole life is a shir, is a song. Every day is just part of this melody. Look at your life as one continuous symphony. It goes through so many different motions and movements and emotions and experiences. You go up and you go down. You have moments of jubilation and joy and ecstasy, and moments of deep introspection and sometimes melancholy, but it's a melody. Don't stop singing. Don't stop singing. And then when a person passes away, the Baal Shem Tov said, their melody gets interrupted, so we sing in order to make sure that their melody continues. Every one of our children has their own melody. And that's why the Medrash says that God said that if even one Jew was lacking, was not there at Mount Sinai, he wouldn't give the Torah. Because the Torah was not just given to the Jewish people as a whole. It was given also to every individual Jew as an individual. If one person was missing, even a child, a woman, a man, a senior citizen, or a youth, the Torah could not be given to anybody. Every soul is indispensable to the living organism called Knesset Yisrael, called the Jewish people. It's why the Medrash says God told the Jewish people every year on Shavuos, when you read the 10 Commandments, the first day of Shavuot, it's like I'm coming down to Mount Sinai and giving you once again the Torah. Which is why, if health officials, if it's according to the health standards, it is so special when every Jew could go the first day of Shavuos and hear the 10 Commandments. We have not returned to Shul yet, but by me there's a minyan close to my house, there's a minyan outside. We follow, of course, all of the guidelines of the health officials in terms of physical distancing. And that's where I'm going to go the first day of Shavuos with my family to hear the 10 Commandments. If you can, try to make an effort. Again, if it's completely subjected to the guidelines of the health officials, to be able to hear the reading of the 10 Commandments on the first day of Shavuos when they read the Torah in the synagogue or outdoors. Why? Because it's a reenactment of the first Sinai, and every single Jew is there. Even infants, babies, men, women, children, because without one Jew, the Torah could not be given to anybody, because every person has their unique, incredible contribution to make to Jewish life, to make to the world, to make to life. Don't live a life of quiet desperation. Don't surrender to mediocrity. Flex your muscles and maximize your potentials. Tune in to your song, because the whole world needs your song. Everybody wants to hear your song. The first person who has to be able to hear your song is yourself. And what does it mean to tune into your song? It means to be able to identify the part of you that is a melody. There's so many different parts within us. There's parts of me that question myself, that delegitimize myself, that tell me that I'm a shmata, that tell me that I'm a loser. There's parts of me that create all types of anxiety. That's fine. You can respect those parts in you, but don't let them define who you are. You always have to be able to tune into the part within yourself that identifies yourself as a living, vibrating, resonating song that brings and can bring to others so much joy, so much meaning, so much depth. In many ways, the mission statement of Emet is to help everybody find their melody, find their song. Because when you do, the world changes. And remember, for a violin to play its melodies, or for a harp or a cello or a guitar, the strings have to be tied down. If I untie all the strings, music can't come out. I have to tie down the strings. This is what we call discipline. It's what we call halacha, Jewish law. People say, why does Jewish law restrict this behavior, that behavior? It's never to limit your life. It's to help you play your melody. When my strings are tied down, my music can resonate far and wide. When my strings are untied, no music will come out. When I live a life of just complete frivolousness, there's no discipline, there's no structure, it may seem tempting, but my music will be stifled. When I have the courage to tie down my strings, when I have the courage to be able to follow the guidelines and the blueprint of Torah, this I do, this I don't do. This person I can get married to, this person I can't get married to. This situation is for me, this situation is not for me. These are places I go to, these are places I don't go to. These are the ways I dress, these are the ways I don't dress. These are the relationships that are good for me, these are relationships that are toxic. This is food that shouldn't come into my mouth as a Jew. This is an environment that I don't belong in. Not always easy decisions. Sometimes I have to tie down those strings. The strings are not loose. When you tie down the strings of the violin, you're not repressing the violin. You're not damaging the violin. You're not trying to turn the violin into an archaic, narrow-minded, small, repressed, crushed individual. You're trying to allow your Stradivarius to play the most exquisite music. So my dearest friends, I love you so much. I send you all my love and my blessings to all of you, to Emet, to Rabbi Akiva, the founder of Emet, to all of the staff of Emet, the teachers, the students, the constituents, the donors, the contributors, all of you. And I send you my blessings to go from strength to strength, to continue to share your special song with the world, for each and every one of us to be able to really, really discover our own song, not to be afraid of it, to be able to hear not only the rebuke of our father, but also the Torah of our mother, to be able to see God not only as a rebuking father, but as a loving mother and as a loving father, to be able to know that Judaism is not just a message communicated to me, but it's also a message communicated inside of me, from within me, to me, Torah Simecha, to be able to discover my melody, your melody, the melody that your soul knows is true, the melody that I went everywhere to look for it, but I couldn't find it. And all materialistic pleasures cannot bring me that melody. They may be great and fun, but they can't bring me that melody. That's a melody that the soul recognizes. I hope you can recognize yours, because I want to hear it. We all want to hear it. Good Yom Tov, Chag Sameach, stay well. Good night. From strength to strength. Emet, Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazek. Thank you very, very much.